All right, good morning, good day, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Be Real, Get Real podcast. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network, and it is my absolute privilege to introduce to you a woman that from the moment I sat down next to her at an event in Dallas, Texas, just about a year ago, the moment I sat down next to her, I knew we were soul sisters. You've had those experiences, I'm sure. And the beautiful thing about connecting with and meeting somebody who's a soul sister, the universe ends up making sure you keep connecting so that you can do the work together in the world that you're meant to do. So today I have the privilege of introducing you to Charla Anderson. Welcome, my friend.
Hello, Nancy. Truly been a remarkable year since we met. I think it was November of 2019.
Yes.
Amazing year to get to know you and your family of the Women's Prosperity Network. Thrilled to have that.
And we are thrilled to have you. You have contributed so much. I know you've got a couple of new books in the works. We're going to talk about all that and also talk with Charla today about this one phrase. Making a difference every day is actually easier than you think. And she's going to share with us some of her story, her background, and how she got to where she is today. But before we do that, let me share her background and where she's been all these years. So Charla Anderson is a published author, a speaker, a coach, a Zig Ziglar certified trainer, and a serial entrepreneur. She has made it her life's mission to help others live a satisfied life of complete peace and joy. She is a former award-winning 34-year flight attendant, a mother, a grandmother, and world traveler. Olympic torchbearer, I didn't know that. That's awesome. I can't wait to hear that story. And she's known as the collector and connector of fascinating people. Her plethora of life experiences, training, and wisdom are catalysts for your desired growth. She's with us here today, and we're going to talk about how making a difference every day is easier than you think. So welcome, Charla.
Again, thank you. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So I see in your background there, your first book called Candy Bar Hugs. So let's start by sharing the story of how that came into being, and then we're going to trace your roots back a little bit further.
Candy Bar Hugs, back in 2013, 2014, I felt like there was a lot of news stories about the feel good of buying, I call it big bucks for the person behind you, and that movement, which was really amazing, and it still is. However, I started noticing that the cashiers at the grocery store and the places like that really could probably use more encouragement than they receive most of the time. So I started just offering my candy bar. Hey, what's your favorite candy bar? And then, do you mind if I give you a hug? So today it might be an elbow bump, but it was, stories came out from that because, everybody's got a story. Everybody's got something going on. And a lot of the times, and if your book, The One Philosophy, and my book, Candy Bar Hugs, It Doesn't Take Much to Make a Difference, are almost, parallel messages of the person right in front of you is the most important person on the face of the earth at that moment and should be treated as such, respected as such, and acknowledged. And so the main story, that probably made the book happen was one of the girls one day, I said, what's your favorite candy bar? And she said, that's the nicest thing anybody's ever done. Candy bar, really? And then I said, do you mind if I give you a hug? And she started crying. And she said, you had no idea. I just found out my mom is terminal today. And
listen.
So we're all crying, and making a difference. It was a small thing, a candy bar, but it impacted her in a big way.
Well, and you never know what's happening in someone else's life. And let's think about it. That cashier stood there for 8 hours of her shift, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people going by, not really seeing her. And you took the time to let her know that she mattered to you. And we can all do this, right? We can all do this. And I just love the spirit in which all this is done, obviously. And it's really a call to action for us to see each other more. Now, you said that was around 2014, 2015, and then you wrote your book and you've been speaking, you're doing all these wonderful things. I have a sneaking suspicion that in your 34-year career as a flight attendant, you were one of the good ones. That we
I was a good flight attendant. And it has to do with seeing the people, right? So especially towards the 34 years, you know, I was 20, you know, when I started, or 12 probably.
I like that 12.
But those were my people, my mission field. So when I went to work, I served. I am a server. I took care of the people. And I loved them. And I feel like I made a difference, you know, maybe 3 or 4 people a day or a flight or whatever, depending on, you know, where we're going, but just really impacting. And the observation factor is an awful big thing, like in the candy bar story, you know, people that are observing, honoring, acknowledging a human being, you know, it lifts the energy of the entire environment in the universe, I think. So yeah, I was you mentioned the torch, you know. So Delta Airlines had they were the official airline of the Salt Lake City Olympics, and I was honored and peer nominated and got to carry the Olympic torch for those Olympics. It was a huge honor.
You have pictures of that? I'd love to see a picture of that.
I'm getting pictures.
Okay.
I've lost the picture but I have the picture of the torch and everything. I have it with me, but and I will get that to you. The Delta Airlines has called their top honor is called the Chairman's Club, and I also received that honor. It was 100 people a year, peer nominated out of 80,000. It's a big deal. And back in 2005, I was chosen to be one of those.
Well, so
high honor.
I want to go back, because obviously in this long career that you had, decades over time, I would imagine there were times when your job was not easy, or there was a change in management, or, you know, something else shifted. And I often experience, or people share with me, that, you know, my company isn't treating me right. So then people end up not treating the customers right. We've all had that kind of experience. And I suspect there may be somebody watching right now who's in a less than pleasant job, or maybe they're doing something they have to do rather than living their passion. What would you say to someone who is really struggling or feeling challenged? What can they do to be that one to make a difference?
Step out of themselves a little bit, you know, look at circumstances are not who you are ever. There's nothing out here that is who you are. Mm-hmm. And so maintain who you are. And I'll explain something this way. There's 2 types of service people, and we all have experienced both. You're in line at the counter and you're like, please, not that one. You know, there's people that are servers. They have empathy. They want to make a difference for you. Whether they feel it or not, they show empathy and concern for your situation. Then there's I call them the enforcers. You know, and I mean, you can relate to that, because get that seat up instead of, hey man, humor goes a long way in certain situations. And the enforcer, I feel, they don't love themselves enough to love others. They don't love themselves. That's their control, and their power in their life is over you right now. And so I would love for people to shift and just realize that one person right there that you're dealing with, or that job that you're dealing with, isn't you. But if you learn to do the best you can wherever you are, no matter what. My mama said, leave the world a better place. And I I choose to do that as much as I can. And think of the person that actually has to pick up the trash on the plane, or has to clean the hotel room, whatever it is. If you would just love those, just think of the next person and leave the world a little bit better than you found it every time. It doesn't take much more effort to do that. And just be kind.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I love what you said about, kind of step back away from yourself. And one of the thoughts that you inspired in me was, even if you're in a situation that's less than desirable, something you don't like, even if you feel stuck in it, the question comes down to, who are you being in that circumstance? Because
honor who you are and whose you are, and don't, nothing out here will change that if you've gotten your own strength of character to be, just to be instead of just do and be.
So as you're all listening in, I'm sure you can hear this long-standing commitment to kindness and goodness and empathy from Charla. And there's an incident that happened that I'm going to ask you to share. And that was a big turning point, not only for you, but for this other person. You know which story I'm asking for, right?
Was it this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I have a lot of stories.
I know, that when you shared that story with me when I first met you, I was like, oh, what courage, what conviction to your faith and your values that represented. So please do share with our audience.
Well, I'll begin with what you say after, whatever you say after you say the words "I am" is who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are becoming if you say it repeatedly. And so I had said for many years, who I am is bold faith, no fear. And I'm just kind of, who I am is bold faith, no fear. I don't even know why I started saying this at right now. I don't know why. But when I was faced with a situation, I was walking up a driveway. Somebody came up from behind, grabbed my good stuff. I was at a convention, my clothes, my cowboy boots, my computer, and all that stuff was gone. And then they're got a gun right here at my head and going, give me your purse, give me your keys. And I had a death grip on them. And I was like, something just came over me. And it's interesting to me because I always put my hands out in front of me as a shield because I feel like I had one. And I stepped towards the gun and I said, you need love. And they ran. So okay.
Pause. So you were faced with your life being threatened. And what I'm hearing is for years you had this mantra, I am bold faith, no fear. So when an instant came up, that was really putting to the test, who are you? You stepped into that. So, wow. And so you said you got a gun on your head and you said, you need love, and they dropped it and left?
They didn't drop the gun, but they did shoot the gun actually from the car. And the shell came. Can I say the funny piece? Because to me, I'm from Texas and I was in Tennessee, and I said, the police found the shell, and I said, was it a 9mm? I'm from Texas. So I think that they saw, we were two little old ladies, and, I think they thought we were easy targets. But when you are light, dark can't enter light. And when you stand in your authority that you have, we've been God-given authority to stand in our power to do what Jesus did and even more. It's not religion, it's authority. Mm-hmm. To do what Jesus did and even more. He said we could do that. And so somewhere along the line, I think that has been kind of taken away from our our world. And I believe we have the power to do so much more than we understand about ourselves or know that we do.
So let's talk about, as we kind of bring our interview today to a close, 34 years in the airline industry, and you have a whole new career. I know you've already published a book, you got a couple more in the works, you're speaking, you're coaching. What inspires you to do this, to keep going?
My mama said, leave the world a better place. I feel like I have a plethora of wisdom, and I've been a personal development junkie over the years. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars worth of positive stuff, right? That's been fed into me. But I also believe it's innate. I feel like have always been a pleaser, a server. How can I make a difference? And yeah, it's just who I am.
You're still here. Like I always say, as long as I'm on this side of the grass, I'm
breathing free oxygen on this side of the dirt, I'm good.
Oh, well, Charla, thank you so much for being with us today, for the work you're doing in the world, for sharing your courage, your boldness, and your faith. Let our audience know how they can get in touch with you and connect.
You can order the little book. It's a 25-minute read if you're slow. So it's on Amazon, of course, amazon.com, and then Candy Bar Hugs. And then my website is charlaanderson.com. And if you wanted to have a discovery call, if you need some encouragement, you can go to charlaanderson.com/call, and we'll just schedule a little time to talk.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's been a magical year, and I look forward to many more of those. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Nancy. It's been great.
Awesome. All right. To all of our listeners out there, I trust that you got some good nuggets today to support you in moving forward for your best life. This has been your episode of the Be Real, Get Real podcast. Stay tuned for our next one. And until then, make it an extraordinary day, because you have the power. Bye, everybody. Bye, Charla.
Bye. Blessings.